All right, let's jump right in. The Cardano ecosystem is absolutely buzzing right now. And today, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to take a rapid pulse check on the key developments you really need to know about, covering everything from powerful new DeFi tools all the way to some pretty huge breakthroughs in institutional adoption.
So, you gotta ask, right? What's really driving all this momentum? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. We're going to dive into the key updates, looking at the evolution of its core financial tools and its expanding global reach to really understand what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay, so let's start at the very heart of it all, DeFi. I mean, this is where a ton of the on-chain action is. And what we're seeing is the space getting way more powerful, way more sophisticated, the tools are evolving, and you know what? Capital is starting to be used in much, much smarter ways.
First up, let's talk about a new platform called Atlas. Now, this isn't just another dApp or decentralized app getting churned out. No, the whole idea here is that it's being engineered to solve real, actual problems for traders, with a massive focus on making that user experience super smooth.
So what makes Atlas so interesting? Honestly, it's the team. You've got this killer combo of talent. On one hand, you have the Titans team. These guys are seasoned builders in the ecosystem. They know what they're doing. And they're working with FiWORK, a full-stack engineering firm. But then look at the partnerships, Midnight and Iagon. That tells you everything you need to know about their strategy. They're going after institutional-grade compliance and new innovative ways to create yield. It's a really smart play.
All right, switching gears a bit, let's look at Indigo Protocol. They're making some really smart moves to improve capital efficiency. There's a new proposal on the table to lower the redemption margin ratio for their synthetic dollar, iUSD. They want to bring it down from 185% to 150%. Now, that might sound a little technical, but what it really means for you, the user, is that it's just going to be cheaper to mint and use iUSD. It's a simple change, but trust me, it's a powerful one.
And then you've got the lending space. Wow. A project called Surf has kind of quietly just surged right to the top. I mean, in just a matter of months, they've become the #1 place to go if you want to borrow ADA.
And check this out. This really puts it in perspective. They're not just #1 by a little bit. We're talking about a borrowed ADA volume that is over 200% larger than the next closest competitor. Think about that for a second. That's not just a lead. That is straight-up dominance.
You know, the Surf team has a really interesting take on this. Their message is basically, hey, don't get hung up on surface-level stats like TVL. They're saying the real opportunity, what traders call alpha, is buried in the details. For example, imagine you use their platform to get 2x leverage on an asset. If that asset jumps 40%, well, for you, that's effectively an 80% gain. That's the kind of hidden power they're talking about.
And the thing is, this kind of rapid development isn't just happening in one or two places. The pace is really picking up across the board. You look at a project like Pulse, they're pushing forward with automated staking, new markets, you name it. Then there's Strike, just a week away from launching an on-chain perpetuals market for the NIT token. It really feels like the keyword for the whole ecosystem right now is just shipping. Teams are building and delivering.
Okay, so we've seen what's happening at the DeFi core. Now, let's kind of pivot and look outwards at how the ecosystem's reach is expanding. And for that, we have to talk about Nuvola. This is a project that is making some really serious moves into the institutional and enterprise world.
So, Nuvola plays in this super interesting space called DePIN. That stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. And what does that mean? Well, think about it like this. It's a way to use crypto rewards to get people to build out real-world infrastructure, things like cloud storage, but without a big central company like Amazon calling all the shots. It's a pretty powerful idea.
And let me tell you, the Nuvola team has been incredibly busy. Just look at their November tour. It was nothing short of remarkable. First, they're in Berlin, presenting at the Cardano Summit right alongside giants like MasterCard and the Volvo Group. Pretty impressive. Then they're off to Zurich to deliver a keynote. And to top it all off, they get invited inside Italy's Ministry of Enterprises. Think about that. They're not just going to crypto conferences anymore. This is a massive leap into government and institutional boardrooms.
And this quote from the founders really just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures their journey. I mean, what started out as this small community revenue-sharing idea has just blossomed into a full-blown DePIN ecosystem. And now they're getting a seat at tables that really, really matter. We're talking about building relationships at a national and institutional level. That's huge.
All right, last but definitely not least, let's talk about the cultural layer. Because, you know, underneath all the fancy tech and the big institutional meetings, there's a super vibrant community. And that's what's driving so much of the engagement, especially through things like NFTs and gaming.
And here's a perfect example of a team that's really in tune with its community, Mekka Labs. So as the price of ADA started to climb, what did they do? They proactively dropped the mint price for their Arcframe NFT down to 200 ADA. Why? To make sure it stayed accessible for everybody. That's just a great community-first move right there.
Okay, shifting over to the gaming world. The Walkers project is really getting into the holiday spirit. They've just launched something called the Winter Quest, which is this super cool interactive holiday event. And yep, you guessed it, players are being called on a mission to save Christmas.
So here's the story. Apparently, the Christmas core, the source of all festive magic in the world, has fractured. Holiday magic is dimming everywhere. So Santa himself issues a global call for help. And that's where the players come in. You can join the quest to help restore it, and get this, there's over 2,000 ADA in rewards up for grabs. What a fun, creative way to get people involved and build a narrative around their project, right?
Okay, so let's take a step back and zoom out for a second. We've looked at DeFi, we've looked at institutional outreach, and we've looked at community and gaming. What does all this activity really tell us when we put it all together? Let's tie these threads together.
So here's the big picture. What we're seeing is real, tangible momentum building on multiple fronts, all at the same time. You've got DeFi, where the tools are getting sharper, more capital efficient. You've got the institutional side, where projects are breaking new ground and getting some serious traction. And then you have that vibrant, creative community layer holding it all together. But you know what the most important takeaway is? Teams are focused. They are consistently building and delivering on their promises. They're shipping.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really crucial question. When you have so much happening all at once, from these complex new financial tools on one side to high-level government discussions on the other, the question really isn't if a major breakthrough is coming for the ecosystem. I think that's pretty clear. The real question is, what's it going to be? And which one of these areas is going to deliver it first? That's the thing to watch.